Ever tried navigating the maze that is the federal government? Now let's multiply that fear factor by 10 and realize we're trying to navigate the maze of a foreign government. Join me as I share my adventure of helping my longtime naturalized wife get her Guatemalan ID. Spoiler alert, a little patience and a little bit of gratitude go a long way. Welcome to Dying to Retire. I'm Doug, and this channel is about my journey into retirement and beyond. And today I'm going to dive into the 5 keys to success for my wife and I in obtaining her first ever Guatemalan ID, aka the DPI card. My wife, like many of your Latina spouses, came here as a small child with just a birth certificate and a passport and never got their national ID card. So buckle up, get your pencils out, there'll be a test at the end. Key number 1. Define and outline your requirements. And what I mean by this, I also call these the who, what's, and whys. This is where you need to lay out what all you are requesting, the what's, who you want it sent to, and the whys. And when I mean the whys, why do you need it? What is the purpose for the what's? It's important to lay this all out because the recipient at the end needs to know exactly what you're asking about. This is again where you outline all the requirements that you're looking for. To include, when I'm talking about it, if you're asking for something, how much is this going to cost, as well as how do you want this to be paid? Because many embassies and consulates do not take cash, credit card, or check. They most often take money orders. The other part on this who, what, you want to emphasize the clarity of what you're asking for. And what I mean by that also means clearly, this is not the time to try to show how wide your vocabulary is. Everything you're writing down in the who, what's, and why should be plain, simple English. Key number 2, this is research and gathering contact information. What I mean by this is you need to correctly identify who's going to be the point of contact you're going to be sending this email to. Because let's face it, folks aren't sending snail mail. They're not calling up. They're sending emails to people's offices. Now, is this going to be the consulate or is it going to be the embassy? You need to find who's going to be the appropriate contact information. Well, we found out Guatemala does not have a government website for their embassy or consulate here in the United States. What they have are Facebook accounts for each one of their consulates. Now, inside the Facebook account, we were able to look around because I had to find my requirements. Able to find the office we're looking for, and we got a few email addresses. And those are the email addresses I put aside to use when I did the formal correspondence. Now, some people will say, why is this number 2 and not key number 1? Well, the reason why is key number 1 like I just mentioned, helps you identify what your search terms and search parameters are going to be. So key number 1 sets up a successful key number 2. Now, key number 3 is crafting the request email. And this is where I'm going to recommend take your outline and use a free AI tool like ChatGPT or Perplexity for assistance. It'll help you keep your language clear and simple. And one thing is when you put the information in, it's going to help put it in a more structured sentence or email format. But one thing I'm going to tell you, and most of, if you haven't already know already, if you haven't worked with AI, you're probably going to have to do some follow-up prompts to be able to get that email the way you just want it. ChatGPT doesn't automatically puke out the perfect thing. You have to prompt it. If it's missing questions, throw the question back in there. It's missing some context, throw that back in there, context to the whys and stuff. Make sure it's getting all the information that you want to build that successful email request. And again, like I said, you want to write down the whys. Like in our case, my wife came to the United States as a small child. She never got her paperwork. We're looking about retiring or doing slow travel in there. So she needs that paperwork to set up my paperwork. But also she had, and this goes to the whys, also because of her parents are elderly, we want to make sure my wife has all her paperwork in order. So if we do have to go back to Guatemala, though her parents are here, go back to Guatemala because where they still have property and bank accounts and stuff, my wife is the only one right now of the children that actually has the appropriate Guatemalan paperwork in order to meet with the banks or other officials. Number 4, translating the email. And this is where I effed up, screwed up. We had this beautiful, perfectly well-structured email, and we fired it off to the Guatemalan consulate there in Rockville, Maryland. Great thing. Gave it 3 days, waited for a response, didn't get anything, sent another refresher going, hey, did you get my last email? Blah, blah, blah. Crickets, didn't hear shit. Then it hit us, and hit me really. We sent it in English. We did not send it in Spanish. So we went back to ChatGPT with the email that we had before in English and said, can you please translate this into Spanish? We even got better. Please translate this into Central American Spanish. The reason why I wanted to make sure Central American Spanish, if you lined it up side by side, the Central American Spanish and formal Spanish, it is a little different the way it gets written up. So you want to make sure you know your audience and therefore you're sending the correct type of Spanish being used or whatever language is being used. So it goes to the people you're asking the question to, so they'll better understand it. So again, translate it so it goes back to the right people.
Sorry to interrupt. Do me a favor, smash that like button and subscribe. It helps with the algorithms and all that other stuff. Also turn on notifications to ensure you keep getting more content on my journey into retirement. If you found this episode interesting or just want to share your similar experiences, please leave a comment below. And always remember, never trust a man who shaves his legs every day, nor a woman who doesn't. Now, back to the show.
Number 5, have patience and demonstrate gratitude. And sometimes this is the hardest key for anyone to do. And I emphasize have gratitude and patience because this process can take a moment or two. Put the shoe on the other foot. They're not sitting there at their desk hitting refresh each and every 5 minutes on their Outlook. No, they're not. They're actually working. They're running around helping customers in front, or they're helping other people's emails, requests, or they're scanning, doing whatever they do there in the consulate. But you remember, that's what they're doing. They're helping others as well. So there's, again, not someone sitting there hitting refresh. Oh, I'm just waiting for Doug's email to come through. No, they're not. And they're probably getting a shit ton in English like I sent the first time and going, I don't read English very well. So you want to do that. Another important thing when I'm talking about patience and demonstrate gratitude, when you do get a response, confirm back to them that you got a response. Send an email back in Spanish. Thank you for the response. I have received it. Here's any further questions, or I will give a call, or I'm going to read it and I'll get back to you if I have any additional questions. Do something on that line. The other part in the segue that I want to put that's key here, that's part of number 5. Even after all this process goes through, don't forget to give a follow-up with them, letting them know that you were able to complete the process. Let them know what went well, what went bad if you want to, but what went well. For my wife, it was really interesting. The people helped her when she was in there, but in the morning before they went in, they raised the flag. They did the Pledge of Allegiance. When they were in there, you would hear marimba music. It reminded my wife when she was in 1st and 2nd grade as a small child in Guatemala. It brought back good memories. So we passed that along, and the consular who wrote back was very appreciative of it because I think we also named a young lady in there that helped her a lot. So remember, have patience and demonstrate gratitude. All right, guys, let's wrap this up. And remember, navigating this consular bureaucracy doesn't have to be a nightmare. The keys are clear communication, having patience, and manners. They all are key. And especially translate your stuff in the correct language. Keep your humor about yourself. There's going to be mistakes and misfires. Everyone's going to have them. You're going to do them. They're going to do them. So have a good sense of humor about it along with your patience. And because you guys were so good, we're going to forego the test today. Now, this is where you guys can help me out, right? Have you recently retired or getting ready to? Have you and your Latina spouse had to go get your paperwork or her paperwork back up to snuff? If you've done it or in the process of doing it, can you please share your thoughts in the comments below? It's really helpful. Don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe. Turn on notifications if you want to get more information on the content on my journey into retirement. Now, if you found this episode interesting, try this one. It's going to pop up in one corner. I'm Doug. This is Dying to Retire. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. And remember, never trust a man who shaves his legs every day, nor a woman who doesn't.